Okay, ladies and gentlemen, marble machine nerds, are you ready for our next panel? It's the engineering team. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, because we just did it, but one more time and even louder. Applause. Yes, engineering team, have fun, go at it, and let's go.
Hello? Hello? Before we start, I have a small announcement to make. You might know there are two people on here that technically aren't E-Team. But we thought it unfair that the people that actually end up fixing MMX are not on E-Team, so we are changing that right now. So, welcome to E-Team.
I'm checking. I don't trust that.
I don't either. I'm offline anyways.
Did you already change it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should talk into microphones so you get a notice. Besides that, yeah, I think to start it off, since Sebastiaan is still eating, we'll just start on the left-hand side on how you end up joining the E-Team.
What?
You might have it easy in that case.
I don't know. I came to Rüdesheim and stayed.
That ended up working.
Sorry?
That ended up working.
Apparently.
Do you really want me to add my word to this? I've been asking for the E-Team role for a while now. No, well, I guess engineering team means by now anybody that's been actively working on the machine directly hands-on, provided a part is a different role, but has provided some thinking power into the machine, I guess.
Yeah, it's the idea would be to how you ended up joining. I mean, for you it's mostly fixing the MMX, I guess?
Yeah, so our role since the machine was here, or last summer, was, oh hey, we need to get the machine museum ready so it can be presented in the museum in a Wintergarten room, as far as I know. So the idea was to have a machine, come on, it's worth it. The idea is to have a machine that is good looking, finished, as Martin intended it to be finished, hopefully. Kinda, and to have, if possible, a playable machine, so that a trained person that knows the issues could present it to people and actively play the music on it. Now, we know it has quirks, but that was basically our role since last year. So through the Discord, we were lucky enough to be at last year's meetup, where we discovered the machine and its issues and the opportunity to fix it. So since we're not too far away from here, relatively, we're like, why not just come every other weekend and deal with the problems that this thing has.
And it's now feature complete. So
it has 2 small tweaks left. Psst, psst.
Sorry. My English betrays me again.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be fair, most of them didn't know they're on the panel discussion. We just started gathering everyone who's in the group.
I started working in the A-Team when Martin asked for help in the episode 54. He was doing, I don't remember all of the things that he wanted to do. I remember, of course, the audio form, but do you remember what the other parts were he wanted help with?
Wasn't this Cyberbase itself?
No, the Cyberbase came later, actually.
It's mainly the underphone.
No, there was three. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Are you calling me old? Yeah. So I just applied for the job, and eventually Chris, who was in the PBS thing at the time, he asked me to join and to start working with Florian and with Chris as well into the underphone. And then months later, Martin asked me to make the Cyberbase.
Hi. I joined the E-team when Martin asked for help figuring out a release mechanism for the marble drops. So right at the beginning, almost. So I sent him an email with an idea of mine, just a small video attached to it with the prototype built from the foam board. And he liked the idea, and we hopped on a video call, and I was involved in the project since then. And part of different teams and parts, and I helped Martin in person in Sweden for a time, and also in France when I was at the workshop, and he needed some manual help, not just CAD and design work. Yes.
Now, I might have done myself not a favor by including that question in the start, because most people ended up providing parts or fixing parts for MMX. I wanted to be fair, but I just ended up having a museum and showing Martin our toys, and that ended up working. So that's about it. So Max, you go ahead.
I joined the team. It was the middle of making the CAD, and I was an instrumental part in working and collaborating all of that together. So Martin felt that it was necessary that I have the role to be able to help make that work properly across all of the teams I worked with in that capacity. I think that's mostly why I joined, or got asked to join.
Hi. I'm Christof from Hamburg. I have a background. I have 2 degrees, one in theater technology and the other one in keeping container ships running, mainly in the engine room. So I stumbled into the project because somebody told me about completely different machines that made music, and then somebody in the group said, wait, but have you seen the marble machine? And so I watched that one video, and then like 4 days later, I had watched all of the videos. So I basically spent a few days in bed, and then I offered 2 specific things because mechanics is my background, and it was very clear there were already 15 people on the job. So I offered my 2 side gigs, electronics and putting things in boxes, because I'm from the container shipping industry. And so putting things in boxes was obviously never needed. Back then, we believed it was needed, and then we both talked about that a lot, of course, but it still didn't really happen. And yeah, I did electronic parts like the bass tuner, microphone holders, microphone wiring, things like that.
With a box that would end up too high for a common truck, by the way.
Yeah,
It
in the
just
beginning there
barely
was a
fits.
dream of taking the machine apart in like 3 big sections that would still be transportable, until somebody found out that is never going to work.
Yeah,
and so
I love the idea, and for putting it back together it worked kinda, but the problem is if you have it apart, there's no way to put it down.
Yeah, we have lovely pictures of you, Lukas. I believe in the presentation at 3 that we have some pictures of you trying to lift it in different pieces, face palming a lot. My first question, which of the 2 degrees is most applicable to the marble machine then? Shipping or theater techniques?
Both not.
Both aren't, okay. So
He's basically the only person who knows what he's doing.
Yes. So hi, I'm Sebastiaan. Back in 2017, I joined the unofficial team. I mean, it wasn't really a team back then. It was more of a WhatsApp group, which is funny because Martin doesn't use WhatsApp anymore. So how I joined this in 2016 the video came out, and 2017 Martin celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the video in Museum Speelklok in Utrecht. It's a museum like this one, but less nice. This one is much better.
I guess I'll get an invoice for that.
Sorry?
I guess I'll get the invoice for that.
Sure. Just do it to Martin. So it all started because Martin made a video how to program music for a music box in only 2 days. Then I introduced the concept of a laser cutter to him, so we was reduced to 2 minutes. And then we got talking, and he said, "Okay, very nice. Let me open up a Google Photos album, and that's where we can discuss with the community. And let's share our code on Google Photos." Then I quietly interject, say, maybe let's do that on a code repository instead of on a picture album, and let's maybe set up a chat room where we can chat instead of the Google Photos comment system. And that has been my main, has been the main theme throughout the years, is getting the Swedish guy who lives in a cave open up to the digital world.
I feel your pain. I really feel your pain.
Yeah.
By the way, we're having our lovely microphone runner Fox here, so if you have a question, just raise your arm so we can cue you in. And please have questions, because that's part of what the talk runs on.
Autographs will be after the panel show as well.
If not, we'll just start rambling around.
Sorry, it was a bad joke.
Say again?
It was a bad joke, never mind. At least Margareth is laughing, which is my only goal.
My name is Marcus. My name is Marcus. My name is Marcus, and I'm watching the videos. It's great. I also build stuff myself, but I don't have a background in Maschinenbau. Does any one of you have? Okay, one.
I'm studying my mechanical engineering, basically. Yeah. So since I joined the team, we were 4 people at the start. 3 of them were designers that had nothing to do with engineering. So I tried to make Martin go a bit more traditional routes. And he had always the rule of cool, was the first rule for him. So we ended up choosing some concepts that were the best ones, but that looked cool. But yeah, the most important stuff, I put my foot down, but I should have done that for more parts, actually, as it turns out.
Which part of that is still on the machine?
The parts I put my foot down?
Yeah.
All of them.
The pedal.
I have some background as well in machining, because I am luthier, I build guitars, and I've learned how to machine wooden parts with my own CNC machine, and I learned CAD and CAM and so on. And the thing about machining is that when you start doing it, you think that you are going to save a lot of time, and it's the wrong thing to think, because machining is really good in precision and in repetition, but it's not something that in my job, I don't do that. I never make the same guitar. So it's always ever-going, learning how to machine better and better and better.
To add to that, I personally have a degree in civil engineering, which is close. It's somewhat mechanical, but yeah, most of it is being able to look at the machine and go, oh, why was that decision made?
So I'm a software engineer, and I also ask why, but from a software perspective.
Hey. Hello. So 2 questions. First, did you get him into the digital age? Does he know code repositories now? Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Did you get Martin into the digital age as you had hoped?
Well, the answer for that is like 2 parts. We tried really hard to get them more active in the Discord, but the more Discord community coordinators are partly on stage, but mostly are not. We did a lot of work making it more community driven, but Martin was active on it for some time. It had its moments where he was really active, then not, and then part of the videos and not. But in the other sense, the code repository, Martin is the owner of all the code repositories, but he doesn't code them. I'm currently the owner, I think. But most code that has been written for the Marble Machine, all the prototypes, all the proof of concepts I did are on GitHub/Wintergatan, I think. I hope to. So yesterday there was a proof of concept being written in Python to do the timing analysis. If the people are here today, let's get the code also up on that repository.
Thank you. Thanks. And the second question, in general, for the Marble Machine 3, I understand it'll be assembled and maybe designed here. How closely will the E-team be involved with the Marble Machine 3 process?
I'm gonna say it depends which person in the E-team. Having been on the MMX, I'm not sure I really want to work that deeply on the MM3. MMX was a good enough challenge. We still have MM to do. We still... Does it work? Thank you. MM still has to be worked on, so some of us will be working on that, and maybe some motivated people will help Martin go in the right direction with his MM3. Though as of now, it seems like the SKF engineers have done a really good job of guiding him. I assume some other people here have also helped. I wasn't in there at all, and I think in the Discord part of the community, it hasn't been that much of a direct communication since Martin, as I said, has been on and off the Discord, and mostly off.
Yeah, for me personally, I will help Martin with some questions, and the working in the workshop part will not be part for me, mostly due to time constraints. If there's something really urgent, I can come to Rüdesheim and help out, but I'm back to mostly doing it remotely, as do probably a lot of the other people here, I think.
I'm definitely taking you up on that, going to Rüdesheim. Yeah, I mean, I will be involved somewhat because it's standing in my workshop. So I actually was wondering if the prototype ends up being, oh no, it doesn't work. I hope not. I won't have 3 of those in the museum. Then I noticed it will already be here.
My impression is that if Martin wants help and asks for it, people will be there. The time has shown that offering help is sometimes not working. So,
Martin, this is a lathe. Use it.
Where's the drill? Where's the drill? That's a lathe, right?
Yeah, also it's, so we are the E-team, but as you may have seen throughout the days, it's more of a lot of people do a lot of small things, like build the source code, help with the lathe for one day. It's a lot more like that, I think, for the 3 as well. It was also for Marble Machine X on the later end of the timeline, but for Marble Machine 3, I think it's more like, I need this done, can someone help me? Do a call, and then someone has an idea and then it helps. It's not really in a structured way, but it kind of works. As in, you can sit in a workshop, he needs an extra hand, that needs an idea, you say something and you help out for the video, yeah.
Yeah,
So
the meetup actually had also a nice dynamic that ended up working. So you will find someone who can weld, lathe, stand around.
Yeah, because the Marble Machine attracts a lot of different people. So it's like Martin said once, it's like a ice cream truck, and which 3 flavors are you selling? So what are the 3 flavors of the Marble Machine? There are people who come for the engineering, there are people who come for the music, and there are people who come just for the slow TV aspect of it. So that's the power of the machine, and we have a lot of people in all regions of all stuff. Like just on this panel, we have civil engineering, we have theater, we have museum director, we have engineering, we have all over the place already here. And for me personally, for the software side, on the Marble Machine X, what I built was a prototype of converting MIDI, so digital music, into stud welded plates. And I believe that will still be needed, so that will probably need a few tweaks, and I will maybe work on Marius with that. Or maybe not, we don't know.
By the way, since we see the chat, yes, we are live. Yes, you can also ask questions in the chat, we'll get to them. Run, folks, run.
Hello, and yeah, thank you for being here and taking questions. This is great. Just was curious to follow up on the discussion about there was allusions to plans of getting, there have been vague discussions about plans of getting this into the museum, maybe having a separate room or something. Just wondering if you can talk about what exactly the plans are for the future of the machines, or if you have exact plans, or what the timeline, what's the near and far future of the machines?
Great question. Next question. No. Yeah, we have some ideas to put it in. If you have been in the museum beside the Groschen cabinet, because we want it more publicly accessible, and also the previous generations before me already made sure to not leave too much space in the normal exhibition. But we also would still like to have the world tour happen, but with exhibitions instead of stages. So we still hope for other museums, maker spaces all over the world to reach out and maybe put together a world tour, so you don't actually have to go to Rüdesheim, because that's not practical for everyone, even though it obviously is worth a trip.
So this is the good opportunity to say, well, we'll need a box for it.
Yeah, I think to actually ship it, we'll need to put it on its back.
Yeah, that's the idea.
If there's no question right now, I have one thing to add to the way we collaborated, and that is, I don't know if you remember that there was a pandemic, and this machine and this project, totally by accident, was the perfect timing for that kind of collaboration. It was at a point when everybody was sitting at home at a computer, had time to think, to do the drawings, to join the CAD team, which was, I don't know how many people in the top were in the CAD team. Probably 100.
Like 200 or something at most.
We had at some point 300 volunteers said I'd be willing to work, and I think we've had 115 put actual work and time into it. And then there are some of us that some people really only came in and did their part, left and said thank you, this has been fun. And then there are some of us who have put in 300 or 400 hours on that project, because at some point it's 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, I'm bored, let me start organizing data, and then someone says organize that piece of data and that piece of data. Here you go, here, E-team, have fun, organize data. Which is just a really fun aspect of it all.
And the same goes for, we needed the drawings because there were so many people somewhere in the world making specific parts. And the normal way with a project like this, which is more or less tinkering, would have been, okay, I'll be at your shop in 3 weeks when I'm swinging through Sweden anyway. Let's tinker a little, and that wasn't possible, so what we needed was really exact drawings, so somebody else in Japan could work from that drawing and make something that can be sent to Sweden and fits. So it was a symbiosis of those, of the pandemic forcing us to work like that, and also all the people sitting at home giving us the chance to work like that.
Just for a frame of reference, I saw the machine for the first time last year, and I've been working on it together with Martin since 2017. So yeah, 5 years. So yeah, because of the detailed drawings, we were able to just work remotely. And I was in a very far away land of Belgium, so I didn't have to drive all the way over here, like I did today.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Brom, and I was wondering, the secret museum is very cool, I think. And have you guys or Martin considered using old mechanisms that are like proven to be useful? Or yeah, is it mainly designing new things?
I try, all right. I really try. I don't know if anyone remembers the video from the museum from Martin where he was like, I wonder why I didn't more historical research. I tried to get that historical research to him by sending him pictures. Like, you don't have to have a drum that's a meter in diameter. You can also have it rotate twice and shift it over. But why do that if you can shift over all the readers for whatever reason?
Okay. To add something quickly, I'm going to put the blame on Martin here because that's a Martin issue, not an us issue. Martin just doesn't want to communicate enough to fully appreciate the whole splendor of the mechanisms at Siegfried's. But it does work. Martin just has to integrate them.
The other thing, at least for the MMX, was that all of the people working on those didn't really have the background in those old music instruments. And the other thing is the rule of cools rules overall. So if the big 1 meter drum looks good, then we're going to use a big 1 meter drum.
Yeah. And a museum is also looking at other people's inventions from 300 years ago can solve a lot of your problems, but seeing their solutions also gives you tons of solutions that you need new problems for. So if you show Martin a museum where he sees 20 solutions that he really needs, but 150 solutions that he now needs an application for, that's also dangerous.
Yeah, so yeah, the feature creep. The one thing that the Discord was used at some point, I don't know how many of you remember that, but the idea vault. People were putting in their suggestions, which is a really nice way to get a bunch of visuals to Martin. Now it's a bunch of visuals. They're not categorized, they're not really nicely set, and Martin goes, oh, well, that looks nice. How do we get that to fit? Make that fit. Oh, that one looks better. Stop that, work on that. Well, that one doesn't work. Go back to the other one. See, I went and found this other section that you categorized for me. I like this. Can we get those two to work together? Oh, no, we need the third one? Okay. Again, make it fit. At some point, you kind of get weeks where you go, Martin, no. This works with your machine currently. Let's not change too many things at once. It's kind of really annoying when the feature creep kind of just starts rolling down a hill. Yeah, so fun.
Artist after all. By the way, since we're live, we can just ask, who here has used Idea Vault? Who here has used Idea Vault? Oh no. Who here is at least on Discord?
Okay. Yeah, so fun.
Interaction.
Woo!
Who has the archiving
A very specific Discord question there.
I don't even think I have that role.
Boo.
I think I do.
You better have it.
I'm not even sure I need it, to be honest.
Fair enough.
One needs the role if one wants to go to the Kanban views of the Idea Vault site.
We can fix that later.
Just as a physical representation of the impact Martin has on our lives, I used to be all black hair, so yeah.
Lies.
Yeah. I was really stressed on my right-hand side. So actually a question in the meantime, if there aren't any questions, I actually have a question for the rest of my colleagues. Who of you plays a musical instrument? I know Lukas does. Ellie?
I do?
Yeah, you played the accordion like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, did I? Or did the accordion?
Do you play a musical instrument, Lukas?
I used to play saxophone for like a week or two.
You played the sax. I played the saxophone as well.
That is called selection bias, you know that?
What do you call me?
Selection bias. The people who do play instruments play apparently saxophone.
Well, I'm Belgian, so I have to. So nobody else? So the three people from the team all used to play. Oh no,
no,
Marius?
I do play guitar.
Apparently, the guy who makes guitars plays guitar.
And you know, when you play guitar and you have a bass, you keep playing guitar because it's in your mindset. But I'm actually recording an album right now, so yeah. maybe I don't get applause when you hear it, but thank you.
And when where will people be able to hear the album when it's finished?
I don't know. It's like SMMK. I don't know if that is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be published. World tour. No, I don't know if that is going to happen.
Let's put the
Soon
Spotify
TM?
link.
Sorry?
Soon TM.
I have a sticker for that. I think I'm gonna take it later.
So, yeah, I am a drummer. I play drums and vibraphone, so that's my musical instrument.
So what would our band be called if we were a band?
E-team, really?
Any suggestions from the audience? Like 3 saxophones, a drummer, and a bass guitar, and a guitar player.
We need a singer. Who's gonna sing?
That's like ultimate jazz band, I guess.
Let's just get Lukas face palming all the time. Use that as a singer, okay?
I mean, depending on what standard we go by, we also play the marble machines, so...
Any other questions from the audience?
Doesn't have to be MMX related, just maybe, yeah, how we got to the project, what maybe some certain parts you have questions about, you want to know why we chose something.
Or like about how Marius got into analog photography, or about the PC, or how about the museum.
So I'm thinking about tight music. Are you also obsessed with it? And I'm looking at the current approach with the flywheel and so on. How would you solve that? And could you explain tight music to a mechanical engineer?
So, tight music, first of all, if you define tight music, you have to define what accuracy you want. Tight music would be, as Martin described it, having each beat be the correct distance apart in time. That would be tight music, and having the notes be played on those beats exactly. That's tight music. Now, if we go to the MM3 discussion, I guess that's more of an opinion, but Martin's research, as you might have noticed, doesn't really define a value for he's aiming for. He just said the best possible. But what is the best possible? Because on MMX, it's really good enough, and the tightness from one beat to the next, you'll notice very little variation. Martin's test, in my opinion, isn't really representative because that flywheel is way too light, and yes, you get variation because you can just spin at whatever speed you want, but smoothing out the input is what gets you the accuracy from beat to beat, and from quarter beat to quarter beat, especially on the machine. And the machine MMX is really tight in the sense that you're not going to notice a difference when it's being played by someone that's focused on cranking the machine. You're not going to notice a difference from beat to beat because it's so smoothed out that any difference you'll only notice over like 10 beats or something. So depends on your standard. Do you want all the beat to be like metronome accurate, which is to the 2 microsecond mark, or do you need it to be jazz tight, which is let's add some swing to it?
The other part to the playing tight music on a music machine of this kind is that there are some parts of the machine you can't change the duration of. So if, for example, the marble dropping down always takes a certain amount of time. And tight music in this case means that all the instruments, if you play the same note at the same time, should also make a sound at the same time. And that's the other thing why he's obsessing so much about the tight music, so that happens, so that the music he has in his head or composed comes out of the machine as well, and not just some of the tones are slightly delayed in reference to other notes, basically. That's how I see Martin's obsessing over the tight music stuff, because he wants the music to sound as he thought about it.
Maybe we should just steal one of the contact mics and measure MMX.
Yeah, there was actually a long discussion about if you are a live band, you typically use a click track, and that's typically controlled by the drummer. And what happens if you are a live band of 4 people and one of them is operating the machine? Then is the click track that's supposed to keep everything together, or is the beat still coming from the drummer and the person on the machine has to follow that? Or is now suddenly everybody listening to the MMX and even the drummer has to play after whatever comes from the machine? That was a long discussion, and it isn't really over until today, because Martin wants the machine still being playable as a dynamic thing, where if he gets excited, yes, he might be a little too fast by intention. And that still needs to be felt by the audience. And so that's a pretty long story, what happens when you add a band to the machine. Then the whole definition of tight changes again.
From that, I would probably assume that you would want a click track that would be based off of the machine. There's 500,000 ways to get a click track off the machine, but you have to find some way to do it, and that yet hasn't been established, because the machine has been nowhere near an actual band that would play with it. It's been sat.
Can you organize data for that?
Yes, if you give me data, I will put data on this thing. But until I get data, I'm going to sit quietly at home.
So am I seeing that correct? We'll just steal the contact mic.
Sure. But I will need a PBS number for the contact mic. Yeah, you can't get away. You can't get away from those. I'm still around. You will give me a PBS number.
Hi. So I've noticed that the Marble Machine X has sort of teetered between being art piece and engineering piece. And how do you reconcile those two is probably the entire reason you exist. Like, have you ever thought of just like letting it go and letting it be an art piece?
You don't reconcile those things, because unfortunately in this aspect you need to have the art and engineering separate. While you can make the machine look good by doing those things like carving down the layers of plywood until you get to that other layer, you can't necessarily do that in parts where you need tight, accurate music. You can't just sit and go, yes, I like the little brass wheels. Make the little brass wheels happen. Which was another thing that makes it just so much more difficult.
Also for the museum, it was always the idea of Martin to have the community be able to finish it. So as a museum, that question isn't too difficult. For the original Marble Machine, that's a whole different story. Because where do you stop, where do you draw the line of fixing it up from the state it was in when it went to that shed in Thousand Frosts? And where do you start fixing stuff that was broken before that's part of the art? Because we all know it might not have been playing as well as it made the assumption to do. The benefit of the doubt.
So this is a question to Lukas. From the. So are there examples of mechanical instruments and musicians actually interacting with each other and liking each other, or actually showing, like playing together? Are there examples?
The instruments we have always tend to hard fix the tempo, especially if since we have only limited features to do music rolls ourselves so far. But we already had some people starting to jam together with accordion, even though I only have really limited control over the tempo and other expressions over that. But if the artist with the instrument can join along, that ends up working usually.
But is there perhaps a separation? Because you asked the question, who plays a musical instrument, right? Because you don't have to build a machine. If you play a musical instrument, you can play in a band and have fun. So is there a sort of a social demarcation line between people who make music themselves and people who make machines who do music?
We partially have to remember, I think, that most of the machines came from the fact that you couldn't record music. Nowadays it's completely different. It's more of an artistic value, but player pianos and everything, you just had no way of reproducing the sound any other way.
Basically, a music machine is made by an engineer, and a piece of music is made by a musician, an artist. The two can mix, but we see the result here.
You also see in many older instruments that there are actually limitations to what the machine can reproduce because they know they won't need it in the music.
I would also say that most of the mechanical machines you've got, the art is on the outside, and the inside is just...
It works quite well this way.
Yeah. The engineering is inside. It looks awful. You can't really look at it without...
It doesn't look awful. But dusty, to be fair.
Yeah, dusty. Okay, fine. Dusty. But at some point you need someone that understands how to repair that machine to actually do the engineering on the machine. And then you just put nice white, wooden panels, and then you say, someone do some art. The two rarely ever meet. You don't put art on your cymbals. You just put a symbol in there and say, close it up.
It still looks good on the inside because an engineer is obsessed with organization and making stuff look repairable easily.
And I mean, in those machines, it's not cable management, it's pipes, lead pipe management that is, and cardboard pipes for those that have that.
We also have brass.
Yeah, it's a lot of management in there, and still tight space, but organized space, unlike other machines that have more artsy in it.
And by the way, that felt, how do you call that? The conflict between how much am I into music, how much am I into engineering, that is thousands of years old, because those people who built whatever the instruments that before they were able to make trombones because they couldn't get the pipes perfect enough to even have the mechanic of a trombone, which to us sounds really easy now, was a problem for many hundreds of years. And people were trying to fix that. If you go with a larger group of a different background into a company that makes church organs or orchestra hall organs today, there's wood, there's metal, there are people who are responsible for keeping wood there for hundreds of years dry so it can actually be used and not move anymore after you have used it. And of course, all of them have a little glimpse of the music, but not everybody there is a musician themselves. And it's not needed. It's the collaboration works as long as everybody is fascinated by the end product enough to do their part.
It's actually also interesting to see, for example, when you see tribute projects to the marble machine, like we have several over there, and you can see which type of person built it. Is it more of an engineer? Is it more of a musician? In the way that the tribute works, the way it's built, were some functional features added to replace a beauty aspect that did not work on the Marble Machine X, or did it replace those and add more beauty aspects that were personal? So in that sense, you can see the evolution and the different interpretations of a machine like that and the balance.
I wonder, do you know any other machines, musical machines that use marbles for all the movement?
By now, yes. But from instruments that have marbles, besides the bearings, I only really remember one that used it for a little game, so you would get a free tune to play after a certain amount of coins. So it's more of a bar game.
Okay. And to the engineers, how would you design the system? No, from the engineer side. How would you design the system with the marbles? I think the free fall in the open air is always subject to some environmental influence. How would you design a closed loop kind of system?
You don't, or just use the floor.
Yeah, the problem with the marbles being in the air that much as on the MMX, there's so many, as you said, so many variables, like if there's some air current or if there's some speck of dust on the release mechanism, then the marble track is different, or if it bounces off the instrument a little bit different. The farther the marble falls, the bigger the funnel basically has to be. So if I want to have a 100% reliable machine, I probably have a drop of maybe 5 centimeters or something, and then right there another funnel. But that doesn't look good, and you maybe don't even get the velocity of the marble, so that the instrument is getting played properly. So there's different problems contributing there. So the idea to use the marbles in the beginning was basically set in stone, and then we just basically find solutions around that problem.
The idea for a reliable marble loop would be a fully enclosed one, because the reason marbles are on the floor is that they escape the loop. And they have to stay in the loop if you don't want them on the floor. And fully enclosed would be the solution. But
you can also remember Intel actually tried to recreate the pipe dream machine. Not sure if anyone has seen that, and they just used the floor. So engineers actually did fix it by just using the floor as a funnel. Yeah.
Hello. I got a quick question to the development process, because the first marble machine was more modern on its own, and with the second, the Marble Machine X, more people of you stepped in and wanted to help to develop the machine, so you started working remotely. And with the possibilities here in Rüdesheim and the third version of the marble machine, are there any plans of changing this development process, like having a more stationary team established that can help Martin, because the putting together of the parts is a time-limiting factor on the building of the machine? So are there any plans to change it in a way?
If you find out how this Martin plans to change that, let us know. We're just here, so if Martin ends up deciding, yeah, let's do everything Rüdesheim and like do a meetup every weekend, we would be really tired, but I'm sure we will find some people that will help out.
Also, I don't be that, well, I'm going to be that guy that, but we don't actually know if MM3 is going to happen, because even Martin doesn't know that. He's prototyping, and if he reaches the goals that he wants, that is going to happen, but for now there is not even any building of the MM3. We are just making prototypes for testing variables and see if we can reach perfect timing machine.
Let's just hope we will end up with less prototypes and we have space to stack them.
Related to the marble circuit and using the floor, did you solve the mystery of the super jumps?
Nope, it still happens. I know where it happens. It just needs accurate gates. So the issue is in the gates right now. It's obvious. You saw the machine running, maybe. The stuff jumps out because the gates get 2 marbles instead of just 1. 2 marbles jump at once. sometimes the gate actuates the other side of the gate as well, and you get 2 marbles at once as well. Just we know why it happens. Just fixing it is a major rehauling of the design of the machine. So no, they're gonna happen. That's part of the whole art piece now.
Maybe one last question? Here in front. Thank you to Fox too, running all around.
Thank you. I imagine like working on the marble machine must be many times quite a frustrating progress. So maybe as like a good last question, can you maybe share like a really rewarding part of the work that maybe you have done?
A really what? A really what part?
Like a rewarding part, like something where you felt like, oh, this has worked really well, or where you just had a big satisfaction.
Maybe let's go down the line, and that's a great finisher.
Our most fun restoration weekend, I'd say, was doing all the vibraphone resonator pipes, because that was rewarding. We heard the instrument, even if it wasn't marbles dropping on it. We could hear the instrument and test the vibraphone, and just have a very long, fun evening testing all the pipes and figuring out that the longest one is like 1.5 meters.
Margaret?
Yeah, that was a very nice night. It was, yeah, playing the instrument and listening to the sounds. I think also one of the rewarding moments was for me when the marbles in the base frame in all those dear tracks finally rolled and didn't get stuck anymore, didn't go uphill anymore. When we had fit in all the new pieces Ellie had made, when we had figured it out that where do we need which distance to maximize the incline within that narrow space. And now those jams don't usually occur anymore. And that is just a relief. Because now we can struggle about the outro, intro, and all the other pieces. And we have, oh no, 2 marbles dropping, but we have freaking dropper arms that can drop marbles. We didn't have that a couple of days ago. So for me, it's basically seeing all these things on it and being able to complain that it's not working how it's supposed to, but it's there. And I think that is quite rewarding by now. Yeah, everything you can forget about is good. That is very accurate.
I remember for me the most rewarding moment was when I made the first prototype of the Cyberbase, and I was on my own in my workshop, and I dropped a marble, and the marble go into the string and bounce and went into the box the first time, because that was months in the working and developing, and to get finally into a prototype that works, it was really rewarding. And for me, I'm just having fun. I mean, I am luthier, I build guitars, and I want to look for the boundaries of my profession. And so that's when Martin came with the idea of the Ondaphone. I thought I have to be there because that's what I want to do. And the same thing with the Cyberbase, and the same thing with whatever string instrument that I'm going to do next. And also, I can't forget that I love to hang with my pal, just making things that, like when I was in France with him, and now here, it's just a lot of fun. It's very funny for me, just doing what I do every day.
For me, it was when finally the piano keys release thing works. Basically, the interaction between the programming wheel and the first steps of the marble release. So those piano keys and the 2 hooks are basically exactly as I did the first prototype as St. Martin in the video. And we designed around them, implemented them, and when they finally moved and the muting worked, that was a really great moment.
I think for me it's not really a part of the machine, but more of the process. Because once I realized that there are actually people crazy enough to come here like every weekend and fix the damn thing, and care enough so they can figure out where everything around here is, and by now probably know some parts way up high better than I do. Yeah, that's really a crazy feeling, just seeing there are enough crazy people out there to follow this project.
Yeah, for me, unfortunately, I don't have as much hands-on time as everybody before me. But last year, when we were putting it back together from transport from France, and having to figure out how it was transported from France, all of the pipes that go from the wood block for the cyberbase into the cyberbase escapement gates, I spent 90 minutes putting 8 plastic pieces together in an exact specific order, and I hated it. And then it fit, and then I was happy, and then I laid on the floor for 15 minutes, happy that it had finally worked and had figured out what monstrosity had been just left to me in a box.
For those people that don't know, every piece of Marble Machine X that was taken away, put into to some paper and labeled, nicely labeled all throughout, but there's no legend. So you have a label, but you have no idea where to put it. Great.
Yeah, my favorite night was like 3 nights ago when I saw that the bass tuner is still working, is not destroyed, and has never been angle grinded.
My favorite part never ended up on the machine so far. So it's the stud welded plates that actually went really well. It was a really nice collaboration with a company in Germany, and it was really fun to do. Also, I think I'm the only one who built a part that was not angle grinded, so I feel a little bit left out for everyone. So
my part was never on the machine. I never did a part.
Okay, you don't
originally I wanted to create spacers instead of the washer sticks for the vibraphone, and then they apparently noticed I have a museum. So,
okay, I'm not the only one, but it's for me personally what it means most of the project is the opportunities it gave me. For example, I got to do the wooden PC, which is amazing, but most importantly, above all, I got to meet these amazing people and do this whole awesome thing. Yeah, closing notes. Do this awesome thing, go to Rüdesheim, the 2nd year in a row, just party in the night. For some Peter, I was asleep, and just an awesome experience and all. Yeah, that's my favorite part of the machine, the people.
MMX ends up not being about the goal, but the process. We are already 2 minutes longer than we intended to, so thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the talk. Thank you for everyone joining on the stage, even though they didn't know about for like 2 minutes before. And yeah, see you the rest of the day. Enjoy your stay.